Well, I decided to change the spark plugs, or at least check them, on my 2003 Toyota Tundra. I just recently purchased it. And it runs good. It's got plenty of power, but it's been a long time since the guy I bought it from changed the spark plugs. He said he did it, but he couldn't remember when. So I thought I would check them. So I took one out. In order to do that, you have to release this tab. You push right there and then wiggle the cable off. Then you can get your coil out. And I looked at my coil, it looks good. There's where the electrical harness goes to. That just pulled out real easy. Now when I took this out, I used the socket, a ratchet I mean, and it was really hard. I was afraid it was going to break or something, strip or something. I used this, and it's got a lot of leverage because it extends out. But I got it out of there. I got it probably halfway out, excuse me, by hand. Then I broke out my drill. I got one of those wobble connections here. Had to pause the video, couldn't quit coughing. Anyway, I got one of the spark plugs out. Now this is what a new spark plug is supposed to look like. You can see the tip on that. And now compare that. Let's just put them here side by side. Maybe that's the best way. See how worn down that old plug is? There's hardly anything left on the tip of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace them all. I'm sure the truck will run even better than it does. And maybe I'll get a little better gas mileage. Anyway, it's not that big a deal because they're kind of easy to get to, especially on this side. This is a 10mm bolt that holds the coil in. And like I said, release the electrical connection, pull off the coil, take out the spark plugs. Let's look at the other side because I haven't really looked at it too much to see how hard it's going to be. Actually, it's pretty good access all the way. Versus some vehicles where it's a real pain. I had a 2007 Dodge Charger. It has, it's a V8, has 16 spark plugs. I also did a V6 Mercedes and it had 12 spark plugs, and I'm telling you, they were hard to get to. These are going to be easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out of there. And the truck runs really good, so it's not like it's missing or running poorly. So I don't know if I'll notice the difference. Maybe I'll have a little more power. But anyway, if you need to do this, or if you just recently bought one, make sure you check your spark plugs. Make sure they're good. If it's been 100,000 miles, it's probably time to change your spark plugs. Well, I got the spark plugs replaced. Now I'm going to start it, see if it starts any faster. Every one of those spark plugs was right down to the porcelain. So this should be an improvement. Now my last Tundra was a 2004. This is a 2003. And the way these ignitions are designed, once you turn the key, it just keeps cranking until it starts. I got used to that, and I have a Lexus over there, and you have to hold the key. And then I would always start turning it and let go of it, and then it wouldn't start. I'd have to start it again or hit the key again. But these, let's see if I'm right or wrong on that.
Important to overall health, especially.
Wow, I can tell you one thing, it starts a lot faster. It took at least a couple seconds. And a bunch of smoke just rolled out the back end. So I do have a check engine light on. It was off earlier, and it's airflow. Is what they call it. It's not technically an O2 sensor. And the window washer fluid sensor is not working. I filled it up and it still is on, so I've got to fix that. But it was running really good. It was really peppy before. I really wonder what it's going to be like now. Well, let me put the phone in the phone holder and take it for a little drive. Okay, we'll back out of the driveway. And hopefully there's no traffic coming. Nice and clear. I don't know if I'll notice a difference or not. This still seems pretty torquey to me. I mean, it could be a little bit better, but it was pretty good before. I'll drive it down the end of the street here. I imagine if there's any buildup of stuff in the pistons, maybe it'll burn it out of there. I just don't know. But it's running really good. It starts, I do notice the difference when it starts. It fires right up. Before, it was probably, I don't know, it's hard to say, 2 seconds maybe? Now it seemed like it just started up in 1 second. It was just boom, it was going. But this 4.7 liter V8, especially with the access cab instead of the 4 doors, it'll bark the tires on this baby. So I really can't say that made a big difference because my truck wasn't running bad, but as burnt as those were, it's got to be better. Like somebody burned a donut in the road. When I first bought this truck, I was on my way home, and I really liked how torquey it was. And every time I'd come to a red light, I'd hit the gas and squill the tires just a little bit. And when we got home, it was about a 2-hour drive. My wife was following me in her vehicle because she's the one that took me down to buy this truck. She's like, how come your tires squill every time you start off? That's my wife. She doesn't know much about cars. But it's fun to drive. I like it. I use it for Home Depot deliveries. So I highly recommend changing your spark plugs. I think it was yesterday a couple days ago, I took off the air filter. I can never remember if that's a street or a driveway. It's a driveway. Anyway, I took off the air filter, and it didn't look bad, but, well, from the backside. And then when I pulled it out and flipped it over, it had a lot of dust and stuff in it. I've seen a lot worse. So I just pounded it on the asphalt, lightly tapped it, knocked all the dust out of it. I took my leaf blower, blew the rest of the dust out of it, and put it back in. Seems to be fine. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have a good one.